6 weeks of adventure and Wednesdays never got better. The Loki series had a lot to offer, and boy, it was fun. From Leventis to the Void to the Citadel at the end of time, we've been through it all. But now it's time for a review.
I have been falling for 30 minutes!
Welcome to a new Welcome to a new episode of Geekdom Forecast, and yes, we are going to be talking about Loki, the review. Well, it's very hard to pinpoint where this series takes place. I mean, one can say it is after the events of Avengers Endgame or after 2012's Battle of New York. So we can say that since the TVA is involved, I think it's above the entire concept of time. So that's where we can place Loki. But I think I have gone too far ahead. So let me tell you again. This is a review of Loki. We'll also be talking about bits and pieces about spoiler alert, certain characters as well. So stay tuned. Well, the plot is simple. This is about the Loki who escaped during the Battle of New York thanks to Tesseract, and that is where TVA or the Time Variance Authority picks him up. Now, the TVA or the Time Variance Authority, they make sure that time flows seamlessly and that there are no offshoots or branches leading to alternate reality. So basically, everything is predetermined and there is no free will. Yeah. Also, if you end up doing something you're not supposed to do, these guys will come and, well, the series itself is more like a perfect launchpad and a blueprint for future MCU movies such as Spider-Man No Way Home and Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, and the What If series as well. Even though it's like a perfect launchpad, at the same time, it's not really like an advertisement of what's coming for the future. The series also it's not really as character driven or as character focused, let's say, like WandaVision or Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It's very plot driven, and we see a different Loki here. This Loki is not the redeemed one. This Loki has a higher purpose, or let's say a glorious purpose. And what's the end game of this series? Well, the multiverse is formed. Kang the Conqueror, or not really him, but a variant, a version of him is there, and he who remains. He is apparently a version of Kang, and we are also gonna say that he can also be a version of Immortus, because this character is not really the conqueror. He's already there, he's already powerful, he knows it all. To be so-called uninitiated, his terms, his names must be little too much for you, so let me break it down. Nathaniel Richards is from the 31st century, and basically he's a descendant of that guy from Fantastic Four, that stretchy dude, Reed Richards. So whenever Nathaniel Richards tampers with time, a lot of things happen. We either get a version like Kang the Conqueror, or we get a more established Kang such as Immortus, or we get a redeemed version, that is Iron Lad. Alright, we are done with the crash course, and now let's go back to the review. Also, one thing about this show, it's very well written and the pacing is in fact really great. Let's talk about WandaVision and their story and pacing. One of the reasons why I like the show was about pacing, but this one really knocks it out of the park, because there were times where I felt that things were a little too slow in WandaVision, and in Falcon and Winter Soldier it was a little uneven at point. But I can tell you one thing perfectly here, that the series here, it's a 6-part series and it's done beautifully. You are at the edge of your seat and there is never a dull moment, because something or the other keeps happening. And the reason why there's so much of interest in this series is because it's like a window for what's gonna happen next. Because while the other series they were very character driven and character focused, like I already said, this one is where things are gonna go for the MCU. There are a lot of memorable moments in this series. For example, classic Loki. No, I'm not gonna call him classic Loki. I'm gonna call him Jack Kirby Loki. Jack Kirby Loki creating Asgard, and then we get to see all the variants of Lokis, including Sylvie and Time Variance Authority, the Sacred Timeline, and Timekeepers. Finally, the coming of Kang. There's just so much going on, and it's absolutely fascinating. And not to forget, Alligator Loki. And if you don't know about him, you just Google him. And Google Throg as well. That's the Frog Thor. Now, coming back to the pacing, the episodes are more like chapters, like 1 and 2 being one chapter, 3 and 4 another one, and 5 and 6 the last one. It's like a proper act. Act 1, Act 2, Act 3. And from the back of my mind, I can just tell you what happens in all episodes. One is all about the introduction, and Loki sees the entire destiny and the coming of Mobius and Mobius. The second one being the reveal of Sylvie. The third one where Sylvie and Loki they have their moments, and episode 4 the reveal where the TVA is basically, the timekeepers were never really there. There was someone else pulling the strings. Episode 5 was freaking fantastic with all those Loki variants, the Void, and episode 6, the finale. Let me tell you something about the series. It's not very heavily action based, but it's very conversational in nature. But it's just that there is a lot of spectacle, a lot of drama, a lot of colors, a lot of scenery hopping from one place to the other, a lot of magic, and just a lot of Lokis. Another thing that works, which I have not really pointed out with most Marvel movies, is the music in this series. Shout out to Natalie Holt for the opening theme, and also all this background music that's there, and all those Norwegian horns playing and everything. It's one of the most memorable musical pieces in the MCU. I think they should release the original music score for Loki as well on iTunes or Spotify or whatever. I'm sure it's gonna get a lot of hits because boy, it was that good. Now we have talked about the positive aspects, but we normally come to this part where we say what does not work in the series. But there's nothing really to nitpick, but I just wish that sometimes the episode, this is not really like a downside, but yeah, I just wish that the episodes were a little longer, because at times they felt really short. And I'm not saying that because I was fully invested in the show. It's just that sometimes things just moved too fast, and it was just for the sake of the plot. At the end something happens with a twist so that you can tune in for the next episode. I wish there was more character interplay. And talking about rewatchability, so far with all the Phase 4 MCU stuff, I think this is the one which I don't mind watching it again. I would definitely skip past the first few episodes of WandaVision, Falcon and Winter Soldier, the one where John Walker goes, yeah, I would like to watch that one. But Loki, yeah, I can rewatch this series again quite a few times. At least when it comes to rewatchability, it's like the first season and the second season of Mandalorian. In conclusion, Loki is a great step in the right direction for the MCU. The reason why people were so involved and invested in this series is because it's going to be about the future of the MCU and where we are going forward from this. And yes, the multiverse will be there. Kang the Conqueror is, in my opinion, the perfect successor to head that Thanos holds. And also, these 6 episodes convey the point very clearly, and like I've said beforehand, it's done beautifully. I can't wait for the next batch of MCU films, gonna be all about the multiverse and where it can lead to. So yeah, they have really, really crafted the next phase of the MCU really well. I won't say the next phase, but the next saga, of the MCU. And we got a finale, a very good MCU finale. It wasn't like action packed, but a very fitting finale where I wasn't disappointed because let's be very honest, Falcon and Winter Soldier finale was and WandaVision was okay-ish, but this one was, yep, I was on the edge of my seat.
A lot of viewers have said that the finale reminded them of Neo meeting the architect for the first time in Matrix Reloaded. The finale is very open-ended though. Sylvie could have sent Loki in an alternate timeline where Mobius never worked with Loki. He sees a statue of what seems like Nathaniel Richards, aka the Kang variant, I believe. And the creators of the show did say that this entire thing, the finale, gives a very Planet of the Apes and Twilight Zone kind of feel, old school classic sci-fi.
I'm gonna be giving this one an 8 out of 10. Alright guys, that's it for today. If you do like what we are doing, give us a like, do share, and of course most importantly, do subscribe because we really need that. Stay safe, signing off.